fashion industry is one of the Earth's biggest sources of pollution, and as a designer, how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel ashamed, but I think now I'm at peace with it because I realize I can do my part. I really hope that the future will shed a light into how it's so unnecessary to be producing these volumes and quantities of new clothes every season. I don't believe we need, like 4 or 5 times new seasons, new collections. I don't do fashion shows anymore. I only do like very small capsule collections. And when I buy a bolt of fabric, this is what I do, because I try to upcycle, but if I have to buy, I'll be like this: okay guys, I have 10 yards of fabric, so I can produce 10 dresses. That's it. Once it's done, we move on.
So you said you're making all of these upcycled pieces, and I want you to show us some of them. So I know you have some here and right here. So could you show us some of them and explain what was the creative process what were you thinking when you were making these pieces?
Okay, I would love to show you. Well, this one here, as you guys can see, is my latest one, and I love it so much. So this first I always love to upcycle for my family because I feel like I'm carrying their love with me when I'm wearing, and so I do a lot of things that I just take from my parents' closet or my sister or my grandma, or I'll go to thrift stores and like combine them together. So this one is actually from my grandma's jacket. So I was in Brazil over New Year's, and when I saw the jacket, I said, "Grandma, I remember this you used to wear." She said, "No, take it." I'm like, "Oh, okay," I'm so excited. And usually, if you see some other brands that do the upcycling, they tend to always like, okay, if it's a jacket, right, you're gonna chop it in half and you're gonna make like a crop top and a little skirt, and that's super cute. But I didn't want to just do that again. As a designer, I want to innovate. So I have a lot of fabric here from leftovers of many collections. I have my brand for 8 years, so I try to not buy and use what I have. So I liked, the inspiration was kind of like the embroidery that you see here has different colors. So I said, oh, I don't want to just do a crop and a blue skirt with the leftover. So I combined with this fabric, and then I did like I love combining different fabrics and like paneling and cool stitches. And I added like this zipper that kind of like pulls this color, the lighter blue. And I wanted, somehow, like when I was looking at the jacket, I love the angles and all the paneling that had, so I wanted to kind of like mimic this angle here. And yes, it has like a lot of angles and panels. I love this so much. I just shot this one. And then another thing that I love to do is upcycling for my daughter. She's the luckiest one. She has the most upcycled pieces. For example, this one, guys, it looks like fur, but it's a blanket.
Oh.
Yeah, so this was one of her blankets when she was a baby, and it was too small, so I just like cut it up. And this was from one of my jackets. So I'll also take pieces from my previous collections when they've been here for a long time, and I feel like, you know what, I'm tired of it. Instead of just selling or throw it out, I upcycle it. So this was upcycled from one of my jackets from, I think, fall winter 2018, and when I used to do collections they were in seasons. And yeah, this was her blanket.
That's so adorable.
So cute, right? She loves this one, and I love it because now I have my 2 nieces, so it stays in our family. So after my daughter, I save everything for my nieces. This one is also from a blanket. All the fur.
Oh
Yeah, she loved this jacket. This one I bought 4 years ago, and then it was too small, and I said, since I'm not really buying anything, let me upcycle. So this one is also super funny. So like all the fun things you can do, especially for children. This one is my son's. So these are pieces of hoodies from my husband, and yeah, both pieces are from my husband's old hoodies. I love this kind of like contrast with the stripes and the grays. This dress here was from a thrift store visit. I was in Connecticut. I went to Goodwill, and this was like a robe, but like those vintage style robes.
Mm-hmm. From like the 90s?
Old school, yes, 90s. So I was like, oh, I like the material. and then I transformed it. I'm gonna try to get like a picture of the original, because if you see, like, what?
Really?
It's completely, yeah, you have no, this looks very, this is one of the upcycling that I feel like it has the most dramatic change. This one is this was one of my husband's jacket. I always steal things from my husband. So I chopped it, did some like cool spraying, and it was such a surprise because when I bleached it, I didn't know it was gonna turn out yellow. And I love this so much.
Do you wear this or does your husband wear it?
No, I wear it. Once I take and I upcycle, it's usually for myself. Yeah. But my husband is also so kind of like, not anti-fashion because he dresses very well, but he does not buy a lot of clothes. He's also very conscious. I think kind of I rubbed it on him, or maybe he just, from Holland, honestly, I feel like over there people are not so like consuming mind as Americans. They are not really like, oh, let's just buy the latest fashion all the time. So he already had that mindset.
So it's like so it's like a geographical like difference.
I think so, yes. And I feel, and I'm from Brazil. The way I grew up, we were very resourceful. I was from a small town. There wasn't really a lot of focus on like fashion, but Brazil is also a very materialistic country, so I feel like we do consume a lot. Yeah.
I see.
This one is made from a pair of pants.
Oh, they're cargo pants?
Yes, they were cargo pants. And then I transformed it, and it's cool. It kind of looks like a kimono style when you put it on. Like these were the legs, so if you see here, you can kind of like tell that they were.
That's so cool.
The pants, yeah. See, they look like pants now, but then I flipped it and added like a collar. These are super cool. I love the way they drape on the body. What else do we have? Oh, this one is also from my grandma's. From my trip to Brazil.
That's so cute.
It's so Clueless, right?
Oh my God.
Clueless. So actually, this was a cardigan and a skirt, a long skirt. So I was able to make 3 pieces out of it. So now it has this skirt, this little crop jacket, and I love the shoulder pads. So cool. And then this is another cute skirt. This skirt is like really long, so I just cut it in half. And this one was part of the cardigan with the other piece of the skirt. So this literally has like 0 waste because I used everything.
That is so adorable.
Yeah. And this one, oh, I love this one too. This was an old bomber jacket that I had, and then I had this fabric for so many years. I only had, I think, 2 yards, and I don't like to throw it out because I like to use an upcycle. So then, yeah, I completely changed this bomber. I have to show you how it was before. And then with the leftover, I made this
Is that a dress?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I shot this a few weeks ago, yeah.
These are all like really like colorful, and they have like a bunch of like unique designs. Yeah. I'm wondering, how is the creative process when you're making this? Is it like instinctive, or do you have this all planned out?
So yes, I move by instinct. I don't plan anything out. Never, like I've never done. Even before when I was showing a fashion week, I couldn't sketch because I feel like whenever I try to plan, I would feel a little constricted. I'm very much inspired by the fabric, and when I'm manipulating it, it just comes to me. It's very natural. I didn't plan to have all of this. Once I started draping the shape, it starts like almost like speaking to me. I know it's weird, but that's how it is. The fabric and the whole motion of it speaks to me. So it's very instinctive. Yeah.
Okay. So I know you're like a professional designer, but I know people like me who are trying to upcycle our old clothes at home, and you know, we don't have that much talent. What would you say you have like as tips or advice for people who are trying to upcycle their own clothes at home?
Oh yeah, this is a great question. First, guys, learn how to sew. I think it's so important. If you think about it, the generation of our grandparents, they all learned how to sew. It was something mandatory in school, and then it skipped a whole other generation. Like my mom doesn't know how to sew. And to me, it's like such a shame. And that's why I'm so passionate about the Fashion Squad, because I tell my students sewing is a superpower, because you can transform what's in your head into reality. And the more you fall fall in love with it, you realize, wow, you understand how the fashion industry can be so damaging, how you can do your part. So I know sometimes it could be very intimidating because you see, oh my God, I could never do this, but you can. And my tip is to start small. And one of the things, like for example, this one, and I actually did start with my kids' clothes. So my son, his pants, he grows so fast, they wouldn't fit him anymore. So I started combining. I would cut like this from one pant and combine with the other to make it bigger. But instead of just like, oh, just a slash, do kind of like an angle, add some things here and there. It's so cool when you combine different colors. Like this jacket, for example, it's all from swatches. We found a box of upholstery. This is upholstery fabric for like couches and curtains, and you just put them together. To me, it's like, don't be afraid, have fun. There are no rules. Do you, and start small, like combining different pieces. Maybe take a hoodie, 2 hoodies, and like slash one and do like 2 different colors. I feel like once you get started, even if it's something small, like adding something here and there, you become like, oh my God, the creativity comes to you. We can all do it. I believe in you.
What if we were to do this? Because this happens to me a lot. Like I'm like cutting my clothes. I'm like, okay, this is gonna work out so great, and then I make a mistake. What do you think I should do when like we make a mistake and then we're not like professionals like you, so we're like, uh-oh, I have to throw this out now.
Mistakes can be very frustrating, but I'm telling you, I love it. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Some of my best work came from mistakes. Like for example, when I was doing this, I had no idea. Like, oh my God, I want to say there was one part that was a mistake. I think this, because I realized like I didn't have enough. I didn't make it. Oh no, I remember. So this here was actually completely accidental, because when I was making this, these 2 pieces were meeting, and then when I tried on myself, it was so small and so short, so I had to start patching it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better than the original plan. So I actually embrace mistakes. You should do that, because I'm telling you from experience, some of my best work came from mistakes. So maybe take some time from it, but don't give up. The mistake will tell you where to go.
Great. I think a lot of people will feel better listening to that.
Yes, yeah, I make mistakes all the time. We all do. I'm human.
So I'm wondering, when you are making clothes out of virgin material, like new fabric, new stuff, is there a difference in feeling from when you're making clothes out of new material versus upcycled material?
I think because I feel like so in love with the upcycling world, it comes easier to me with the upcycling, and I feel like when you're upcycling, it's so friendly to your mind. And even like you were mentioning, like people that may not be designers, you can be even more creative when you already see the garment. So I think it's more fun, because you kind of like, I feel more challenged when I'm upcycling. Because if it's just, a blank new piece of fabric, anything I can do, whatever I want, I can just make it. But when I take a piece that is already made, there are limitations. So that will even make me even more creative. Because, okay, how do I get out from here? Like, this was almost like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And I like that I'm challenging my mind, and it actually makes me a better designer.
Great. I think you're like one of those strong people, because I know some people are like frightened by challenges. Like, oh my God, oh no. But then you're like, no, I'm into it.
Yes.
Okay, so I actually have one final question for you. I've done a little research about you, not to sound creepy.
Oh no.
But I saw that your brand was all about women empowerment. How do you think woman empowerment translates into a sustainable world?
Wow, that's actually such a great question. I feel like no one has asked me that yet. Women, naturally, we are nurturers. This is like a trait that comes from, who we are. And I think that when women are empowered, our message is even stronger. And that way, for example, as a woman, I'm nurturing people, I'm inspiring people to do the upcycling, and I see now the impact. I have people messaging me waiting for my upcycling challenges. They're like, oh my God, I can't wait. I'm so inspired by your upcycling. People that said, okay, I'm gonna do that again. And women have that power to kind of like create a community and spread the love into the world, and our message is so strong. So the more we empower women, women empower the world. Not saying diminishing men, but we do have a more nurturing way of impacting people. So that's why for me it's so important to keep impacting, the power of womanhood.
Thank you so much for your inspiring messages today. I think a lot of people would be like motivated to do stuff at home now that you've like shown your beautiful pieces.
Show me your work.
Yeah, so you should all follow her at Layana Aguilar on Instagram, and you can check out more of her upcycled pieces and upcoming pieces for this year.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.